Welcome back to News Across Nigeria. Do remember that all our top stories can be found on our website, that's channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. Please visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. We'd also like to encourage you to use the Eyewitness feature in the Channels TV app. If you have pictures or videos you'd like to share with us, just tap the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and follow the instructions. Now to the aviation sector. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has banned the use of remotely piloted aircrafts, that is, unmanned aerial systems, better known as drones, in the Nigerian airspace without proper permission and that of the Office of the National Security Advisor. According to the agency, the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, is yet to publish standards and recommended practices as far as certification and operation of civil use of drones is concerned. In the meantime, the NCAA has put in place regulations and the circular to guide the certification and operations of drones in Nigerian airspace. And joining us on News Across Nigeria is the Director General Aviation, Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, Captain Ayodele Shashegmo. You're welcome to the program this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Just when things were getting interesting and the use of drones was getting popular, this dampens everything. What is the danger in the use of unmanned aerial systems?
Well, one of the responsibilities of Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority is to ensure safe skies, to ensure that airplanes that are flying in controlled airspace and not, in conflict with unmanned aerial vehicles. And basically, it's a new technology. It's getting better and better all the time, and we intend to make it as clear as possible to everybody that operates drones. I wouldn't like to call it drones. Unmanned aerial vehicles.
That's the technical term for it. That's the proper name for it.
Yes, that's the proper name is unmanned aerial systems.
Right.
To come in conflict with properties, people in areas where no aircraft are flying, and also being well away from controlled airspace where aircrafts are going into land safely.
Some countries like the UK, including the UK, have reported near misses between these unmanned aerial systems and aircraft. That has not happened in Nigeria yet.
It hasn't happened in Nigeria, and we hope to catch this in good time before that begins to happen.
Now, the commercial use of drones, we know that people use it for commercial purposes in the entertainment industry, to shoot films. We know that people use it in the media as well, to get aerial shots of places that are being covered for the news. And we also know that they're also used for recreational purposes.
Yeah.
How does this impact the use of drones in these two aspects?
Well, the recreational purposes, right? Let's talk about that initially. Toys for your son or your little nephew or something.
And we have one in the studio right now.
Yeah.
If the camera can come back to us. I'm just going to put it here.
Yes.
The captain
that's
okay.
one.
It looks like a neat toy.
It is a neat toy, and it's very useful for the purposes that it's been designed for.
Yes.
The aspect we're concerned with is people use this could be a recreational unmanned aerial system, and it can also be used for commercial purposes. I think, for my investigation, a lot of the unmanned aerial vehicles that we have in Nigeria are basically bought as recreational and brought over here and used commercially. We have to be very careful about that. But at the same time, the technology that goes with it prevents it from being used close to the airports and at altitudes that may conflict with aircrafts, passenger aircrafts. So, but it's essential that the authority...
It's configured that way?
It's configured that way.
Okay.
You'll find that when you use one of these systems, it lets you know that you're getting past the altitude that you're not supposed to get to. And that altitude is 400 feet. It's the same with us over here. As the authority, we only have 400 as a limit, and about 5 miles away from control airspace, i.e. airports.
Okay.
So it's a big issue with International Civil Aviation Organization. And that is because they haven't developed the standard and recommended practices for the operation of unmanned vehicle. They're leaving it for states to be able to develop something and then give them a feedback before they come up with the proper SAPs. Okay. So we have a moral obligation to make sure that the operation of UASs in the country are properly registered, and the people who are operating them for commercial purposes are also advised accordingly.
So you have to register. If you want to use it as a toy, fly it around as a helicopter, whatever use of it as a toy, recreation, you have to register
you still
with the
have
NCAA.
To register. You still have to register with
and
the
if
NCAA.
it's a commercial reason, you have to register as well.
You have to register, come up with what company you want to use, and then you're classified as a commercial venture using drones.
Militarily speaking, drones have been very effective in weeding out and targeting enemies across the world where there's conflict going on. Does this help Nigeria's war against terror?
The unmanned aerial vehicles that we have in the country can carry the payloads that is being used for military purposes. Military purposes are military aircraft. We're basically talking about civil operation here.
Okay.
What the military does, they do, and that's what they're trained to do. But as far as we're concerned, for this little aircraft that's sitting over here, we need to be properly guided on how to use it.
I'm saying that because you also have to, apart from permission from you, the NCAA, it was also published that also from the National Security Advisor.
Right.
Could the use of civil drones such as this come in conflict in those with the use of military drones in those areas?
No, they're totally different aspects. It's just that the National Security Advisor will want to know what is coming in, what type of aerial vehicle is coming in and registered, right? So we pass all that information to them. They give the approval. It comes back to us, and we give the requisite approval to operate.
Do you think that the use of, will the NCAA encourage the use of unmanned aerial systems, registered unmanned aerial systems in the private sector? Yes,
that's the reason why it's there. The technology is improving. The technology is getting better and better.
Okay.
The technology is getting better and better every day. And believe it or not, there's so many things you can do with these unmanned aerial vehicles, as long as they operate under the full supervision of what the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority.
Finally, how will the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority be able to monitor the use of unauthorized drones flying in different parts of the country? Do you have the resources to find out that if this is registered or not? If it's not for commercial purposes, they're shooting films all over the place, and do you have the manpower to do that? And if Nigerians think that the use of some drones in certain areas may pose a problem or a risk, do they report or call the NCAA to say, oh, we've seen the use of drones here, we don't know whether they have permission to do it?
Well, you know, it's it's a question that everybody asks. You can't hide an unmanned aerial vehicle. If it's flying, everybody sees it. And we have people who will give us information on where they're operating. If you're talking about using it as maybe Nollywood using it,
yes,
you could say you can generally say that within that set, you have people who are also, eventually telling us that, look, drones are flying in this place, and you need to probably take a note of it. And we can easily say, well, don't worry about it. They're registered. They know what to do. They're properly trained, and there's no problem with them. A
final question: what is the penalty for the use of the unauthorized use of unmanned aerial systems? Is there a penalty yet? Is it a fine, or you go to prison? What happens?
It's possible that people will go to prison. It's possible. That's the extreme of it. But basically, we have sanctions for different type of, which is already in the regulation. So they may apply those sanctions.
Okay.
Everybody is sanctioned once in a while. Even airlines have been sanctioned for certain things, but it doesn't mean that they have to go to jail, but they're fined accordingly.
Okay. Thank you so much for that information on News Across Nigeria. I've been speaking with Captain Ayodele Shashegbon. He's the Director, General Aviation, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, speaking on the use of unmanned aerial systems, better known as drones. Coming up on News Across Nigeria, the Oyo State government weeds out over 16,000 ghost workers. Please stay with us.